Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where those smoky skies are probably Joe Biden's fault, this is Ballot.
Yeah, but was it Biden or one of the Biden clones? Let's hit this. Canada is on fire again, and I mean that literally, not just because of their healthcare system. Dozens of wildfires are burning across the country, sending smoke so far south that people in Florida are wondering if they accidentally moved to Saskatchewan. The fires are stretching from British Columbia all the way to Ontario, which is basically Canada's way of saying coast-to-coast coverage. Some of these blazes are burning between 100,000 and 300,000 hectares each. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the size of Rhode Island, if Rhode Island were currently engulfed in flames. 25,000 people have been evacuated from 3 provinces, with Manitoba accounting for 17,000 of those evacuations. That's a lot of people suddenly looking for new weekend plans. The largest fire in Manitoba has scorched 189,000 hectares on the border with Ontario, which is about 65 miles northeast of Winnipeg. So if you were planning a nice, quiet trip to Winnipeg, and let's be honest, who wasn't, you might want to reschedule. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan is having its worst fire season in decades. The aptly named Shoe Fire has grown past 300,000 hectares. I don't know who named it the Shoe Fire, but I'm guessing it wasn't their first choice. Maybe the Ono Fire was already taken. The smoke from these fires has traveled so far that skies turned orange as far south as northern Florida. That's right, Canadians managed to export their problems to Florida, which is impressive considering Florida usually exports its problems to everyone else. The smoke was particularly thick over the Midwest, where it actually held temperatures down several degrees. So Canada's wildfires are literally providing air conditioning to the American Midwest, which is the most Canadian thing ever. In North Dakota, visibility dropped to about a mile, which means you could barely see far enough to realize you're still in North Dakota. Bismarck experienced 1 to 2 mile visibility most of Saturday, turning the city into a real-life version of Silent Hill. Air quality alerts now stretch from British Columbia to Ontario, with officials warning people to limit time outside. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and surrounding areas are under code orange alerts, while Milwaukee might hit code red conditions. When Milwaukee has worse air quality than Los Angeles, you know something's gone wrong with the world. Speaking of smoky skies, Mount Etna decided to throw a tantrum on Monday, spewing lava and ash all over Sicily, which is really the perfect metaphor for how most of us feel on Mondays. The volcano erupted around 11:30 in the morning, sending tourists running down the mountainside faster than people leaving a timeshare presentation. Now authorities are calling this eruption spectacular but harmless, which is exactly how I describe my cooking. Sure, there's smoke everywhere and people are running, but technically nobody's in danger. The eruption was caused by what scientists call the collapse of material from the northern flank of the southeast crater. Or as normal people call it, the mountain had a really bad day. The lava flows went in 3 directions, south, east, and north, which sounds less like a volcanic eruption and more like my attempt to parallel park. The pyroclastic flow, and yes, that's a real scientific term that sounds like something you'd order at Starbucks, reached temperatures of over 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. For comparison, that's hot enough to melt copper, or roughly the temperature of my laptop when I have too many browser tabs open. The whole thing left behind what authorities describe as a fine layer of reddish material that got blown around by the wind. So essentially, Mount Etna gave all of Sicily a light dusting of volcanic ash, which is nature's way of saying you're welcome after redecorating your entire neighborhood without asking. But don't worry, we're in good hands. The acting head of FEMA just told his staff he didn't know America had a hurricane season, which is roughly equivalent to the head of NASA saying he wasn't aware space existed. David Richardson made this comment during a Monday briefing, and now the Department of Homeland Security is scrambling to explain that he was just kidding around. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is predicting a 60% chance of above normal activity this year, with 3 to 5 major hurricanes expected. So Richardson picked quite possibly the worst possible time to make this particular joke. Democratic lawmakers immediately pounced on the comment. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said he was unaware of why he hasn't been fired yet, which is a pretty solid comeback. the Department of Homeland Security rushed out a statement saying the comment wasn't serious, calling criticism mean-spirited attempts to falsely frame a joke as policy. They insisted FEMA is laser-focused on disaster response, which is what Grand Moff Tarkin promised Lord Vader. Richardson was appointed last month after President Trump fired the previous acting administrator, Cameron Hamilton, who had the audacity to suggest that maybe FEMA shouldn't be eliminated entirely. Hamilton lasted exactly 4 months in the job, which in Trump administration terms is practically a career achievement.
What happens when one of the most powerful men in music is accused of some of the most serious crimes imaginable? Check out the new podcast, Did He Do It? Following the federal sex crimes trial of Sean Diddy Combs, coming to you straight from New York City. Every day I'll take you inside the courtroom where prosecutors say Combs ran a criminal enterprise of sex trafficking, coercion, and abuse, using his fame, fortune, and influence to silence victims and control lives. We'll cover the big stories and the small moments that can shift the verdict. The trial has begun. The questions are piling up, and every day we'll be asking the same thing. Did he do it? Follow now wherever you get your podcasts.
President Trump has turned social media into a full-time job, posting on Truth Social with the dedication of a teenager who just discovered TikTok. Since his inauguration 132 days ago, Trump has posted 2,262 times. That's more than 17 posts per day, which is impressive considering he's also supposed to be running the country. To put this in perspective, Trump posted more than 3 times as much during this period compared to his first presidency. He's gone from being a prolific tweeter to becoming what can only be described as a social media machine. The man has a team of aides helping him post throughout the day, which means there are now people whose actual job title is probably presidential post assistant. On Memorial Day, Trump commemorated fallen service members with a 172-word message written entirely in capital letters that somehow managed to work in references to scum and 21 million people illegally entering our country. Nothing says honoring the dead quite like typing in all caps about immigration policy. But the real winner came Saturday night when Trump reposted a claim to his nearly 10 million followers that Joe Biden had been executed in 2020 and replaced by a soulless, mindless robotic clone. Which raises so many questions, starting with, if Biden was replaced by a clone, why didn't they make a better one? Trump's biggest posting day this March saw 138 posts in 24 hours. That's nearly 6 posts per hour, assuming he slept at some point. His previous record from early 2017 was 14 tweets in one day, which now seems quaint by comparison. The 78-year-old president often surprises his staff with pre-dawn messages, posting at 3:29 in the morning about topics ranging from abortion to comparing himself to George Washington. He recently called Bruce Springsteen a dried-out prune of a rocker and declared that Taylor Swift, who just finished the highest-grossing concert tour of all time, is no longer hot. Portions of today's show were made with the help of volcanoes, the world burning down, and AI.
You know the silhouette, the squint, the voice that cuts like a blade. Clint Eastwood isn't just a movie star. He's a myth, a mayor, a cultural fault line, and maybe the last great American icon. Eastwood Reloaded tells his story one chapter at a time. The hits, the flops, the chaos between the scenes. Because legends aren't born, they're built. Eastwood Reloaded. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
He thought cryptocurrency would set him free. Instead, it made him a target. Alessandro Romano flew to New York for a business meeting with his former partner. What he found was an elaborate trap. A luxury apartment turned torture chamber, where digital dreams become real-world nightmares. For 8 days, he endured unimaginable torture. His captors wanted his Bitcoin passwords. They had police protection. They had done this before. This is the true story of friendship turned to betrayal, innovation turned to exploitation, and one man's fight for survival against a system designed to break him. Crypto Kidnap. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Want this podcast without commercial interruptions or feed drops? Caliroga Plus is just $5 a month, and you'll get this show ad-free. Plus, we've just added the full first seasons of Eastwood Reloaded and Crown and Controversy, so you can binge listen our new series without a single interruption. Caliroga Plus gives you palace intrigue, 5 good news stories, daily comedy news, 5 daily trivia questions, and all the other shows on the Caliroga Shark Media Network. Totally ad-free. For just $5 a month, it's the best deal going. Apple Podcast users can even get a 30-day free trial by clicking the banner that says uninterrupted listening. If you're on any other app, head to caliroga.com/plus. Link in the show notes. Don't wait. Get your uninterrupted content now. Apple Podcast users click that banner that says uninterrupted listening. If you're on any other app, head to caliroga.com/plus. Link in the show notes.